In the world of reliable firearms, you really can't go without mentioning the brand that we're going to talk about today, and that would be the Glock 26. This one's been on the market for a really long time, and we're going to go over kind of all the little ins and outs of it and what makes it so great. So stay tuned. Alright, you guys know how we like to do it. We're mixing it up with some Wolf ammo that's going through some corrosion issues at the moment. We're going to use some Federal and some Remington. Mix all that stuff up in there. A couple loose ones. We got some aluminum, not much left, but we'll throw them in there anyway. Some Tula brass max, all kinds of goodies. Alright guys, welcome back. We're talking about the Glock 26, which is Glock's subcompact double stack 9mm. This is kind of a Hall of Fame, if you will, EDC or concealed carry gun for a lot of people, and there's, you know, a really good reason for that. These things have been on the market for 20 plus years, since the early 90s, and they have just not stopped with how far they've gone and how many different, you know, little innovative features they've added, things that they've changed and move forward with. And I've just always really been impressed with this. Most people who are unbiased will tell you this is one of the best firearms on the market. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why it's so great. One of the things that they really brag about as far as a company's considered is their simplicity. Glocks are super, super simple, and they really don't offer a lot in the way of initial out-of-the-box look. And, you know, they're nothing fancy. They don't really have any cool, unique features, but it's very simplistic, which is really cool, and that kind of adds to the rugged durability of these pistols. Now, one of the benefits to this firearm, and most of the firearms throughout Glock's line, along, you know, tailing that simplicity factor, is the fact that they are very, very easy to take down and field strip. So you just pull those two levers there, and you basically have her field strip. Yes, she is dirty. We haven't cleaned her since we got back from the range, but I mean, if you just check this thing out, that's really easy. All you'd have to do is take this spring out, pull the barrel out, and just wash her off, you know, scrub her down, lube her up, and you're good to go. That's something that I really have to appreciate from the Glock line of guns, is that they're really, really easy to get together and, you know, clean them out. And then once you got it all set back up, you're back in the fight. Really easy setup, really easy to take down and clean, or, you know, go through any kind of malfunctions you might have had in the firearm and really get at that problem directly without having a whole lot of, you know, takedown levers and everything else. It's really, really easy to own. Now, another thing that a lot of people like to talk about on the internet is these sights. They are terrible. A lot of people don't like them. That's just kind of the ball in the cup ordeal right there, and that's really what you got to work with. They are interchangeable. You can take these things out and replace them with something else. A lot of people tend to do that. I personally don't mind them. They're not night sights, so that may be an issue for someone carrying this around in like a dark, you know, city or something like that. But for me, it's really not a big deal. I find that I'm fairly accurate with these for some reason. Maybe it's just that I've owned so many. I don't know. But these sights are not that bad for what they are, you know, for the price point. Another common thing that's talked about online is this trigger. Like we said, empty magazine, empty chamber. But with this trigger, when you pull it, the reset, audible, breaks. I don't have an issue with that. Some guys are very harsh about the trigger, saying that it's, you know, it leaves leave something to be wanted. That's not an issue for me. I don't have a problem with it. The trigger is what it is. It's a 5.5 pound trigger that is just very simple, which is really what this thing boils down to. If you want something that's going to be low maintenance and it really goes bang every time, Glock 26 is the way to go. Now, when you pick up one of their Gen 4 models, which this one happens to be, you're going to get 3 magazines with it. These are the 3. You're not going to get this holster, so don't get excited about that. But these are the magazines you're going to get. You're going to get 2 10-round magazines here. Well, 3 in total. 3 10-round magazines. And this is another cool little thing that I picked up. I use this on a lot of my firearms, especially the polymer ones. This is a Pierce finger grip. Let's see if I can show you there. It's a Pierce extension right there. And what that does is when you throw that in if you use a regular magazine, you put it in there, at least for me, my pinky is always hanging off the edge. And some people don't mind that. I don't necessarily mind it. But when I'm carrying something, I really want to make sure that I have a full, firm grip on it. I just really don't want to have one dangling off the edge there, wondering, what's going on as I'm pulling the trigger in a life or death situation. So this piece right here is invaluable to me, at least on a carry gun, just because it really only costs like $7 to $10 to add that. You throw it on one of your magazines and you're good to go. And like I was saying, you can see here, these are my 2 magazines with my Pierce grips. These are probably my most carried polymer guns as far as EDC or concealed carry use. This is my Shield magazine. And this thing sits a little bit more flush, like I guess probably like that when it's without this Pierce grip. But I just really love that little bit extra room to really hook your finger in there. And I think that's really something that you guys should check out. Now in the world of magazines, when we're not talking about the Shield, this is so cool, and I love this. I don't know if there's a lot of companies that offer this. I can't imagine that there are. But this is a Glock 17 magazine, 17 rounds right there. And, when you throw it in this thing, fits perfectly. It really sits in there. It does have a little bit of wobble. It's not a big deal because it's not going anywhere. It's not like it's going to fall out of there. But it really adds to the grip and the feel, and you're also getting that capacity. So when you're out there banging on a target, I mean, you really can't be upset about having a 17-round magazine stuffed in this thing, and it's almost the same as owning a Glock 17, so how can you complain about that? Now, when you're talking about magazine extensions and a subcompact gun, everybody wants to know, including myself, what the size is and how it's going to fit my hand specifically. So I'll show you here on the ruler. It's just around the 3-inch mark as far as my grip's concerned when I'm holding a pistol. So with that Pierce grip, you're going to get a little bit extra room there. And that's really a added bonus for me because when you throw this one in here, just like this, you got that dangle. So if your hand is around the 3-inch mark, it should give you a rough estimate of how it's going to look and feel in your hand. I just really like that added grip. That's just me. It could be different for other people. Some people shoot better with a pinky hanging off. Now, there are a lot of tactical gurus on the internet who love to carry 50 magazines and, a drum magazine for their Glock or whatever it may be. That's not how I carry things. I honestly probably wouldn't even carry this really ever. I don't think I've ever used this one. This is just kind of irrelevant to me because I don't find myself needing to carry 30 rounds. I feel safe plenty with the 11 rounds in this thing, so I'm really not bothered by that at all. If I really felt like I needed to, or if it was in a situation where things were kind of hectic in the world and I felt like I needed a more capacity, you could just throw one of these 17 rounders in this little mag pouch thing and clip it on the belt or on like your pants somewhere and you'd be good to go. Now, let me just say that I am not a Glock fanboy by any stretch of the word. Yes, I do love Glock. I also love SIG. I love Springfield. I love Colt. I love bows and arrows. I love, whatever it is, slingshots and BB guns. I don't really care one way or the other, so I'm not going to sit here and be biased about it. You can understand and trust my opinion when I tell you that this thing is unrivaled in the reliability department. There's so many other guns that go bang just as much as this one. Revolvers are another big one and very, very popular in the older school community. But this thing is just rugged and durable. And as far as Glock's concerned, I mean, you really have to try hard to say that this is not a reliable firearm. There are so many tests and tortured videos done that you can go and watch it yourself. And it's got to be said that all these other government agencies and the military and whatever else are switching to these things. There's a reason they're doing that. They don't have those trials and tests for no reason. So the reliability factor is definitely here. Now, whenever you're talking about reliability, you always have to address the ammunition. Today we were shooting a lot of this Wolf stuff, which I'm not sure if it's a parent company or if they're even associated with Tula ammunition, but it is just cheap steel case stuff. And while it was sitting in the trunk of my car over the past 3 rains that we've had, it got this like glossy finish to it, which I'm pretty sure is corrosion. And I don't know if that was, attributed to the failures that we had today, but we did have two. We had a failure to fire and a failure to eject. And out of all 4 Glocks I've ever owned, this was the first time I've ever experienced a failure with these. And I'm not sure what that was due to. Now, there's any number of videos online torture testing these things, and you can see that they really blow through everything, sand, dirt, whatever it is. There's also a couple where you see they'll have some malfunctions, and that could be due to maybe having 1 or 2 along the lines where they just weren't put together correctly. They weren't assembled right on the line. Well, in my case, and in most people's cases, this is one of the most reliable firearms you will ever get your hands on. Let's talk briefly customizability, guys. There's so much stuff that you can put on a Glock to switch it out and make it your own. You can get paint jobs, you can get FDE, you can get burnt bronze, you can get Patriot Brown, you can get all kinds of different stuff. There's so many options when it comes to these firearms just because they're so widely known and so easy to, manufacture aftermarket stuff. This is a stock, right out of the box Glock. There's nothing, different about it. There's nothing unique about it. But there are some cool things that can be done with this. You can get those aftermarket slide stops. This one is a little narrow. It's kind of hard to actuate when you're in the moment. I mean, it's a little on the stiff side, and when you're sweeping your thumb, it doesn't necessarily catch. After a few times, you may get lucky with that. But it is a little small. They do have aftermarket ones that have a little bit of a shelf that stick out a little farther so you can kind of get a hold of that a little bit quicker. They do trigger jobs, they have extended magazine release buttons, and all that stuff's relatively inexpensive just because these are so widely used that they can mass produce that stuff. So if you pick one of these up, you're going to have all kinds of options as far as what you want to do with it to customize it and make it your own. Now, talking about the grips, it has this little square blocks on here that are designed to grip your hand, and this is unique to the Gen 4 model. The Gen 3 has a much smoother finish here that I think a lot of people were, hesitant about because it leaves a little bit desired in the grip department. But there's also, if you don't like these, they have rubber like sticker type deals that go around here. They're called Talon grips. You can look those up. Those are definitely cool. I like them. I really just prefer this. It may look aggressive, and even if you squeeze really firm, it may leave a little bit of indenting in your hand, but that looks much worse than it actually is. It doesn't hurt in the slightest bit. It just really grips onto your hand, and I like that. So with that, this is what you're going to get here. You're going to get this box. You're going to get this cool polymer box that comes with all Glocks. They are really just nice. They're, most days a lot of these firearms that come out, you get a cardboard box. But with this one, you're still getting polymer. You get the instruction manual, your fired brass, so you have that for states like Maryland that like to make sure you have those. You get cleaning rod, cleaning brush, a bunch of adjustable back straps for those of you with big hands. I don't have that issue, luckily. But you have that there if you want to. Most places are offering that now. And then you're also going to get these 3 10-round magazines. So that's a really good deal for a Gen 4. Now, if you're looking at pricing on these things, they are a little on the expensive side, maybe mid-range expensive. Brand new, they run in the $530 department. You're going to spend probably around $545, $550 out the door to get one, unless you buy it used, which I highly recommend because these things do not break. They are so hard to break. They're very difficult to jam up and hem up, and they just last. So if you go buy a used one that's in relatively good condition, it's really going to hang and test, the time limits on it. You can really just go out there and use it forever. So that is a really, really good option, is the secondary market. All right, I hope I covered all the information you guys wanted to know about these. If you want to dive in deep on the dimensions and everything else, all the, nerdy facts that some people like to, check up on, get on the Glock website, check it out. You can look over the width, height, girth, whatever you want to know about it, it's on there. If you guys have a question specifically about anything on this firearm, or maybe something you just want to know about me in general, make sure you leave a comment. Hit the like button down there and leave a comment, and I will make sure to follow up with you and try to answer your question the best way I know. All right, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate the support. Later.